Hey guys, it's time for another math easy solution, and you're probably thinking, oh, this guy sounds a lot different. And the reason why that is because I'm actually Matt's brother Mark, and I'll be doing a segment on what makes a fair wager, and it's basically an odds preview. And the point of this video is to get a basic understanding of how odds work and how to interpret the odds when you're making bets or wagers. So the first thing I'm going to do is give you an example, which is the heads or tails example. It's one of the easiest ones to do, really simple to understand how odds works. So if someone gives you a 1-to-1 odds on a heads or tails game, what does this mean? Basically this means that if you're going to be betting $10 on each game, if you win, you're going to win $10. Okay? But if you bet $10 and you lose, you're going to lose $10, okay? So that's what 1-to-1 odds means. So in the same sense, we'll go to the part B and look at that. It says a different person offers you 2-to-1 odds in a heads or tails game. What does this mean, and which person would you rather make a wager with? When someone gives you 2-to-1 odds, this simply means that if you're going to be betting $10 and you win, you're going to win $20 instead of 10. That's where the 2-to-1 comes in. It's basically a ratio. It's like and people can also write it like this. This means 2-to-1 odds as well. So let's say, and then which person would you rather make a wager with? And that's quite simple. If you're going to be getting 2-to-1 odds compared to 1-to-1, you want to take the bet that's 2-to-1, because not only do you win 20 when you bet 10 or 200 when you bet 100, you win double. You lose the same amount that you bet. So if you bet $100 and you lose, you'll lose $100. But if you bet 100 and you win, you're going to be winning 200. That's where the 2-to-1 means. So if you want to play heads or tails with someone, what you want to do is you want the better odds. You're going to take the 2-to-1. But of course, that's unlikely because no one's going to give you that kind of odds for a heads or tails game. And that goes into the next segment, which is the what is a fair wager. This is really important, very important. A fair wager is simply that people create odds in a way that if you play an infinite amount of times, you're not going to win or lose any money at all. So basically what happens back here, if you play the first way, it's a 1-to-1 odds. The odds of winning is 1 out of 2 when you're playing heads or tails. So that means that it's a 50% chance of winning. So if you play, let's say you play 10 times, what's going to happen is you're gonna win. If you bet heads every single time, you're going to get 5 heads on average, 5 heads, and 5 tails. So that means you're going to lose 5 times and win 5 times. If you win 5 times, you're going to win $50 because that's 10 times 5. You're going to win 50. But if you're going to get 5 tails, that's 5 losses. So you're going to lose $10 5 times. You're going to lose $50. So 50 minus 50, that's going to be exactly 0. This is defined as a fair game because the odds are made in a way that if you play this game infinite amount of times, you're not going to win or lose any money. You're going to break even, and that's what we call it, even. When you look at the next example, part B, it's 2-to-1 odds. So what happens is you win 5 heads, and then the other is going to be 5 tails. So you're going to win 5 and lose 5. But look what happens. When you bet 5 times and you win, you're going to win 5 times $20 because of the 2-to-1. Every $10 you bet, you're going to win $20. But at the same time, you're going to bet 5 times, you're going to lose $10. You're going to lose 50, but you're going to win 100 for winning 5 times. So you're going to do 100 minus 50. You're going to be winning 50 when you play 10 times on average. So what happens is that if you want to if you have a 2-to-1 odds, the odds are unfair, not for you, but for the person who's creating the game, because you're going to be winning a lot of money and he's going to be losing. That's an unfair game, because if you play an infinite amount of times, you're going to be winning a lot of money. So that goes into our next segment, which is the dice example. This is a little bit more tricky because there's more than just 2 outcomes. There's 6 total outcomes for 1 to 6 on the different sides on the cube. So let's say we roll a single die. A die is just a singular of dice, which is plural. What is the likelihood of you guessing the right number? The odds is it's quite simple. It's 1 out of 6, which is 16% chance, 16.6666. So what does this mean in a sense when you're gambling? It just simply means that if you bet 6 times, you're gonna lose 5 times, but you're gonna win once. Win once. That's what it means when the odds are like that. So 1 out of 6 chance of winning. 6 times you're gonna win once. You're gonna lose the other 5 times. So if someone gives you 3-to-1 odds, if you guessing the right number, that means if you get the right number, you're gonna win 3 times your bet. So if you bet $10, you're gonna win 30. So let's see what happens. Let's say you bet 6 times. On average, you're gonna lose 5 times. You're gonna lose 5 times on average, and you're gonna win once, right? So what happens is you're gonna lose 5 times of $10 because that's the amount of money you bet. You're gonna be losing $50. $50 loss. I'm gonna put a loss there. Okay, but you're gonna win once, which has a 3-to-1 payout. So you're gonna oh, whoops. This is let's say $10 here. Times it by 3 because you won. That's gonna be $30 win. So $50 loss, $30 win. So you're gonna be losing $20. You're gonna have minus $20 if you play this 6 times. But if you play it more, 600 times, 6,000 times, you're gonna be losing a lot of money because the odds are made in a way that's not fair for you. The person who's making the bet, the bookie, he's gonna be making money because the odds are in his favor. But what happens when the odds are 5-to-1? In the same sense, you're gonna be losing 5 times. You're gonna lose 5 times, $10 each. You're gonna be having a $50 loss. But you're gonna win 1 time, which is the $10 is gonna be multiplied by 5 because it's 5-to-1. If you win once a $10 game, you're gonna win 50. So if you win 1 time, you're gonna win 50. So you're gonna have a $50 win. So this is gonna be exactly even. You're gonna be winning 50 and then losing 50. So this equals 0. This is a fair game. And you're probably thinking, okay, I see what's happening here. If the odds of winning, or the chance of winning, is 1 out of 6, in order for the game to be fair, you need the odds of the denominator minus 1. So 1 out of 6 chance of winning, you're going to need odds that are the denominator, which is 6, minus 1-to-1. That's the odds that you want in order for the game to be exactly fair. So one really quick example is, let's say a guy gives you he tells you to pick exactly one card out of 52 from a deck of cards. So he says choose one, and if you get it exactly right, what do the odds need to be for the game to be fair? So the chance of winning is 1 in 52. In order for the game to be fair, he needs to give you 51-to-1 odds because it's the denominator minus 1-to-1. This means that if you lose 51 times, let's say you bet $1 51 times. This is going to be times by 1. You're going to lose $51. But you're going to win once. And that one time you win is going to be multiplied by 51 because you're getting 51-to-1 odds. You're going to be winning 51 and losing 51. So this is what a fair game is, and that's exactly how you figure out the odds for it. So now that you understand what odds means, I hope you do. So this means that you won't be getting tricked or hustled by somebody who's giving you odds that are just not fair, or if they're just too heavily in his favor. If they're a tiny bit in his favor, which is like how the casino works, then it doesn't make that big of a difference. Well, even though it does, but in that sense, it's just for fun. You never gamble to win. But if the odds are too heavily in their favor, you don't want to make that gamble. Okay, so let's say it's the dice one, and it's 4.9-to-1 odds. Okay, 4.9-to-1. Then yeah, it's almost identically even. So you could play that game and have some fun. If you play infinite amount of times, you're gonna lose, but not that much. Whereas if the odds were 3-to-1 up here, you're gonna lose a lot of money because the odds are heavily in their favor. So basically that's it for the basics, the preview, and basically the next video I'm going to be making is how do casinos win money, a little extension on that. So if you guys want to just check out my next video, which will be coming out shortly, it'll cover that and different techniques that they use to create an unfair advantage for themselves so that the players lose money. Okay, thanks for listening, guys. Stay tuned for the next one. MFA out.